Hey everybody, welcome to week 6. As I mentioned in my announcement closing out our last module, we're at the stage where it's really important to be cognizant of the date and where we are in relation to the term. We have a total of 8 weeks together for talking about literature, and we're entering into our 6th one. That means we're closing in on closing up. This past week, we had several assignments to do, and you'll notice that we only have one discussion to complete and a few short stories to read. This light agenda is scripted purposefully by our course designers to free you up some extra time to have put into your final research paper. Now, my suggestion is that you do exactly that and begin formally drafting that assignment. I really can't stress enough, the more prep you put into your work, the better it will be. The final research paper is due at the close of Module 7, so you do have some space to work still. So take advantage of it. And if you encounter problems, let me know, all right? Doing that now will just yield better results too. If you communicate while we still have time to adjust and develop strategies to fix things, that's going to work a lot better than trying to do everything last minute. All right. So in treating modernism, we've looked at poetry and we've looked at drama, and now we turn to prose. What you'll notice immediately is that at least 2 of the 3 authors that we're addressing are ones that you are already aware of. They're significantly famous: F. Scott Fitzgerald and Ernest Hemingway. Now, what I want to talk about is that I want you to consider the significance of that fame. I don't mean that you should think about them in terms of them being celebrities, though, to a certain degree, they became that during their lifetimes. What I want you to do is see that we're talking about people who've been recognized by popular acclaim as important writers. These are writers who you were likely subjected to learning while you were still in high school. And I say subjected because that's just kind of how I characterize what goes on in high school. You're made to do things, and that casts a terrible pall over things. In our course, you're made to do things as well, but at least, you have the option for signing up for this class. So, you came into it of your own volition. Whereas regularly in high school, it's just following the leader and what's required. All right. So subjected is how I tend to characterize it. And that does really flavor how people think about things when they were made to do them. All right. But regardless, somewhere, what you should understand is that because you were subjected to it, this should send you a message. People in charge of the curriculum were thinking that it was important for you as a well-rounded person to know who these authors were and be conversant with what they did. Now, that that's really what I'm talking about. Then you have, of course, the other side of the coin, which is that Fitzgerald and Hemingway cemented their place in the classroom by the most ingenious tactic of writing novels that could be assigned to high school students with some confidence that they might actually read some of it. And that was their tactic was to write some very, very short novels. Thus, I still have innumerable students rolling through my classroom who have at least nominally read The Old Man and the Sea and or The Great Gatsby. So far, we've been talking about modernism as artistic expression, and that is absolutely appropriate. However, when we turn to Hemingway and Fitzgerald and this idea of fame, we have to take into account what monoliths they are in our culture. And what we're actually doing is looking back through time and seeing how modernism actually impacted and changed everything as society grew and adopted the views of this group as a kind of gospel for how things are. I think it's likely that our appreciation of modernism might have taken a very different course if history had somehow avoided a Second World War. But the repetition of horror, violence, destruction. While writers like Hemingway were at their peak, really cemented the modernist voice. These were people taken suddenly now as prophets who were speaking the truth of what it was to live in our world. So that really ups their prominence, not just in literary terms, but in cultural terms. And that's why I say, again, we really have to take into account the fact that if you poll on the street, a number of the writers that we've looked at during this class, who people would recognize, it's very likely that it's going to come down to Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald, as opposed to, we'll just say, Willa Cather. All right, that's nobody knows Willa Cather these days. All right, so that's my big message for now. I gave you my talk about getting started drafting on your final research paper. So please do so. If you have questions about it, let me know. We'll take care of them. And, as usual, if you have any other concerns, you know how to contact me. Till next time, adios.